Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Eternal Tournament Series. It is the final round, and we have one last mid-range bash. Toth201 on Praxis midrange versus Unearthly's Argenport midrange, and I am joined today by Paradox.
Hi there, LocoPojo, and yeah, we're gonna go in. We're last mid-range battle in what has been mid-range soup today. Seeing again Unearthly, who we just saw a few seconds ago, and Toth from before. Both these players have pretty decent records, and this match actually might end up deciding who gets to go into day 4 and who goes home.
Yeah, there's a chance if Mouche actually manages to completely sweep this thing that some of the 3-5s will even break. So, if not, I think that Toth and Unearthly are going to have a pretty decisive match. So we shall be seeing very shortly who wins. I'm putting my bets on Unearthly unless Toth can draw a significant number of Heart of the Vaults, but we'll see exactly how it goes.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that this matchup is probably in Unearthly's favor on Argenport. In this case, this is actually one of those matchups where he's very glad that he doesn't have the Art Grunehammers that a lot of Argenport midrange decks played from before, as they don't really do a whole bunch versus Praxis midrange. So with his Flyers and Tavrod being more or less unanswerable, I definitely think that Unearthly has a pretty good shot here. But again, anything can happen here, and we've seen more than once before our Praxis deck come out of nowhere and just swarm the board with a bunch of free stuff.
Yep, I think Unearthly has definitely built his deck to sort of challenge the other mid-range decks in the meta. If you've got your Slays and your Vanquishes, you're pretty capable of dealing with your opponent's 4-drops while still pressuring a lot with your early 2s, 3s, and 4s. And of course with your Tavrods, because who doesn't love a good Tavrod? But from here, I think like Unearthly's got a pretty solid just early game, and Toth is just sort of throwing Purifies early to try and save himself some face.
Yeah, he does. He picks up a second Purify, which is going to be really nice. And then he does have the Crimson Firemaw and Sandstorm Titan to follow up this next turn. Meanwhile, Unearthly actually has no answers. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this out. A Sandstorm Titan on the field will go unresolved, but I like that he saves it, tries to bait out some other earlier removal first. I think that's a really good choice by Toth here.
Yeah, Crimson Firemaw draws a Impending Doom in response if Unearthly decides to go that route. He can attack for 3 here and get a Vara's Favor to kill. Toth has got to be aware of the risk of that particular block, and also not attacking with Crimson Firemaw always feels wrong, so he's going to go ahead and leave it alone, and the Impending Doom will come on down. Toth can purify it to get in and get his swing, but if he does that, then he's going to have a pretty significantly difficult road ahead of him in terms of establishing the board. So he's just going to attack in, accept the trade with the Impending Doom if it gets there, and Unearthly unwilling to trade there means that Toth gets to play Sandstorm Titan and really lock down the board. I think this is really starting to swing in Toth's favor.
I do too. I think that actually was the right play by Toth to swing in there. Valkyrie Enforcer off the top is going to help him out quite a bit there, though.
Yep, Unearthly gets to attack with the 5/5. He's got 2 units to block with if he chooses to, but it looks like he's trying to win the air battle. However, Toth is well capable of saying no here. He gets to Xenon Initiation, Sandstorm Titan to kill the Impending Doom. He has Torch for the Valkyrie Enforcer and Purify for whatever he feels like. So I don't think he's in a lot of trouble here. I think he's looking really strong, and he's going to continue to pressure to make things hard for Unearthly.
Yeah, I agree. That Torch pickup was actually a pretty big deal, and he's going to be able to answer everything that Unearthly has here.
Yeah, what's worse is he's actually getting those Crimson Firemaw hits, so basically every card he draws is going to be close to free. He's going to be able to develop the board out a lot better than Unearthly is, and Unearthly's trying to be the beatdown here, but Crimson Firemaw is just going to say no to that. So we'll see what he can do. He's got another discount here. If it were a Heart of the Vault, this would just be game, but he's at least got the Torch here and the Purify. And he's going to hold the Purify and just throw the Xenon Initiation on to get the Impending Doom out.
Yeah, I like that play from him. Normally, he might want to try and save that so that he can answer a Tavrod, but I like that he's just saying, you know what, I don't think he has it, or I don't care if he does, and he just tries to just wipe his board as much as possible. So very good choice by Toth there.
Yeah, using all of his removal there before Protect can be relevant. And then Unearthly's remaining threat is just a 5/5. That's a really bad deal for him.
Yeah. And a free Sandstorm Titan off the top.
Yeah, free Sandstorm Titan doesn't really make a difference here. It could be a 4-cost Sandstorm Titan, and Toth would have the same play, but Unearthly is out of this round, and if Toth can get another great swing off a Fire Maw like this one, then that's going to be really solid. I think, however, that one was more down to Unearthly's hand just not matching up with what Toth was doing.
I would agree, but this is certainly a good showing of just how silly Praxis can get, especially when it has an unanswered Fire Maw, or really just an unanswered anything. But the Fire Maw in particular is really able to take over a game.
Yep, can be quite ridiculous. Okay, so looking at the sideboards, I can see Unearthly sideboard at the least. He's got the Bartholos, he's got the Paladin Oathbooks, he has Suffocates and Protects, he has 2 more Vanquishes, which are almost certainly coming in, and he has Dark Returns if he wants to try and get some things back. What do you think is going to come in here, Paradox?
If you're Unearthly, I think your biggest concern is just trying to end the game as fast as possible and trying to really be the aggressor, because Praxis is almost like a time bomb. Like the more you kind of just like wait and let them start doing their thing, then more hearts start coming down. You know, you get more Fire Maws on the field and all this crazy stuff that's just a little bit too much tempo to come back from. So I think he brings in a little bit of the removal, like the Vanquish and Display, to help him beat down, but I think he's mostly committed to just get the game done, just get on with it and get it over before it gets really bad for him.
Yeah, that kind of role would definitely be very solid, and it looks like we are hopping into the next round, so hopefully we should see exactly how well that turns out for him.
Yeah, Toth redrew into a little bit of an awkward hand. He's stuck on 2 power right now, so if he can pick up that 3rd one, he's in good shape because he has the Emperor Acolyte. But without that, he's kind of just only got torches to help him navigate the game.
Yeah, Unearthly's is no less awkward. He actually has 2 Shadow and no Justice with 2 Valkyrie Enforcers in hand. This hand is absolutely awful for Unearthly. I'm not sure that he's got a way to make this thing work. If he draws a green this turn, he's got a chance, but this is about the worst thing that he could have picked up.
Yeah, I think I agree. That's actually probably the worst thing that could have happened for him. So now he's going to get to play the Acolyte, and he has Torch backup here. And Unearthly picks up nothing.
Yeah, Toth has an active Champion of Impulse. He's got Crimson Fire Maw ready to go. The Vanquish here is helpful for Unearthly, but only if he draws some Justice. And if he doesn't draw Justice, then Champion of Impulse is going to get Toth an early Carnosaur. It's all looking really, really bad. I think Unearthly is going to go down almost immediately here.
I think so
yeah,
too.
we see the fire.
Toth
can play Heart of the Vault this turn with Champion of Impulse's activation, and that is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
So 2 damage to a power locked Unearthly. I think that's going to cost Unearthly this round. There's basically no recovery at this point.
Ooh, yeah.
Just to get some stuff off the board. Finds the Justice so he can Vanquish. That's actually going to save him enough that he can maybe play a little bit further, but like it's still going to be Dawnwalker Titan or Dawnwalker Fire Maw this turn. And Unearthly does not run harsh rolls, so he's just stuck slaying a single unit every turn. That's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that was the pickup that he needed, but I still think it was not enough to help him get back into this.
Valkyrie Enforcer could shut off the champion and block the Dawnwalker, but Unearthly's still missing double green, so that's not going to happen.
That's actually going to be the game.
Because now he lethal.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's 8, and Toth has it secured. I think Unearthly just had like really bad luck that round. That certainly is going to happen every once in a while to a player in a feature match, but that was just pretty brutal. His first time around, he had a really decent hand, but Toth had a very, very good draw. His second time around, Toth had an okay hand, and Unearthly had nothing. So that's going to be just a quick 0-2 for Unearthly, but he's been playing really well. He's got a pretty good chance of breaking anyways. So we'll see exactly how well that ends up being as we go and take a look at the bracket.
Yeah, I suppose we should have made a disclaimer that Unearthly had the advantage, assuming he draws well, and that was not at all what he got to do that game.
Yeah, but like all in all, I think Unearthly's still got a reasonable chance of breaking. I'm not sure of his total score here, but he's looking pretty okay. Everything else is looking fine. Like I think that like overall it's looking like it's like I think that basically most people have a pretty good chance of breaking depending on how Mouche does. Mouche, if he goes 7-0, like gives other people a pretty good chance if they have a reasonable record. Like some of the 4 wins might break. And Moosh did in fact go 7-0.
Well, we're still waiting on his. He's still playing this one out. So yeah, he did go 7-0, and if he wins this one, that is definitely going to probably put a 3-5 like HiThar or Angrychicken into the top 4. Well, actually, no. I don't think there's any chance of a 3-5 at this point. Now that all the matches have been resolved, if things stay roughly the way they are, our confirmed top 3, or 3 of our top 4 today is going to be Moosh, Toth, and Unearthly. If SirRhino loses his match, we will have a tie between, at least a 2-way tie between him and Child Roland for the 4th place spot. And potentially, I believe actually it's HiThar against SirRhino right now, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be incorrect. But either way, below them we have HiThar at 3-4 and Angrychicken at 3/4. So there's a chance that Child Roland, HiThar, Angrychicken, or SirRhino could all end up being the 4th spot, depending on how these tiebreakers go.
Yep, the 4-4s, the most likely to break. Rhino and Roland both have a pretty good chance, but if Roland and Rhino both lose their games, Roland is actually 4-4 right now. He's actually he's resolved his round. So if Rhino loses his game, then he's not gonna make it. If Rhino wins his game, I think he guarantees the top 4 slot, and beyond that, that'll push everyone else out. Moosh gets it on the 7-0 with whatever it is that he wins or loses. Toth has a guaranteed 6-2, so he's in. Unearthly's 5-3, so he's definitely... Excuse me.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Unearthly is definitely in at 5-3. Toth is in at 6-2. Moosh is in at 7-0. Pojo is out. Hopefully not dead. Let's see if we can go ahead and bring the backup match here. We still have 2 more running right now, which is SirRhino and HiThar, Angrychicken, and Moosh. I don't exactly know who is against who. Yeah, it looks like we have Rhino versus Moosh, and then HiThar versus Chicken. So let's go ahead and see if we can bring HiThar and Chicken up on the screen right now and see how this game is evolving.
It's not looking great for Chicken at the moment, nor for me. But I think we have Mystic Ascendant on HiThar's side. Chicken is stuck on 4, so not going to see a lot there.
It looks like Chicken's stuck on power. He's going to have a Desert Marshal to come in and stop the Ascendant, but I don't think that really matters. HiThar just has complete control of this game, just to drawing all of his power.
Yep, like all of this aggression with Chicken so low is going to mean, really, it's going to be very, very scary for him at this point.
Ooh, and he uses that Desert Marshal to silence the Temple Scribe, which does mean that he's going to be able to play Sirah and probably start spinning unless Angrychicken has another answer. And we're trying to get Angrychicken's hand up on the screen right now, or at least on my screen.
Yeah, well, the Great Parliament here from HiThar is going to fill up the board to such a point that only a harsh rule can really solve it for Chicken. But I'm not sure if HiThar really wants to play into that harsh rule, even with the Dark Returns in his hand. Possible that being more aggressive here is the best route, but at the same time, like if you get harsh ruled too hard, Chicken can win out a bit easier in the later game.
Yeah, Angrychicken finally drew his power and also drew all 4 Desert Marshals to make sure that HiThar was having no fun on his side of the board.
No fun allowed.
No fun allowed.
Have arrived.
HiThar's going to Dark Return looks like a Mystic Ascendant just to play as the 7/7, which I think that's probably the correct play here. Just to try and bait out the harsh rule, because then if Chicken doesn't have it, he wins, and if he does, then he's able to just kill him with the Great Parliament.
Yep, we see the Vanquish there, and beyond that, it's another 6 damage to Chicken. I don't think
and
Chicken has the
another
harsh rule.
Mystic Ascendant.
Oh, that's so brutal here. If Chicken has the Desert Marshal, then that looks really, really good. But regardless, I think that he's taking too much damage. He can't really afford to just sort of sit here.
If Angrychicken plays another Desert Marshal, he's cheating because he's already played all 4. So I certainly hope he doesn't play this one.
Then I guess the Mystic Ascendant is safe, and so is HiThar, taking that win and giving himself, I believe, a chance at the bracket, but not a very high one.
Yeah, certainly not a very high one. We might have a big, giant 4-way tie for 4th now. No, Angrychicken, because he lost to HiThar, that means he will be dropping to 5-3 or 3-5, and HiThar moves up into 4-4.
Yeah, it's up to Rhino to try and seal up a victory. If he can make it to 5-3, then he knocks out all the tiebreakers, but I'm not certain how that went for him.
Yeah, it looks like we're still waiting on Moosh to develop, I believe. And sorry about that. Trying to get some intel here on what's going on. He is definitely the last matchup right now. Yeah, we still have not heard from him yet, so it's still him versus SirRhino, and they're duking it out. Okay, let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen. It looks like Rhino versus Mouche is now heading into game 3.
Yeah, the final round, Moosh with the attempt at I believe it is an 8-0 record. Rhino trying to get a guaranteed spot in the top 4. Both players have a lot on the line. Moosh is mostly here like for just the style points, but it's a really fun and stylish amount of style points. So I think he's going to be trying real hard on this one. We do see Kothan on the field already. Rhino is just setting up, looking for any sort of answer, and with any luck, he's going to get it.
Yeah, Rhino just opting to take a cautious setup here. Doesn't go for the sabotage, just trying to make sure that he has a guaranteed banish for the next turn.
Yeah, guaranteed banish for the next turn will kill Kothan if he chooses to do that. He could also go for the sabotage into another Varus favor, try to set up for some bigger stuff. He doesn't need to kill Kothan immediately, and he could always threaten something like an Iron and force Kothan not to attack this turn, which could be fairly good if he wants to set up against Sandstorm Titan or another 4-drop.
Yeah, I think that's probably the good setup here. And he does go for the banish, just trying to get rid of just some of his early attacks. Oh, and he gets hit by the stand together. That's really actually not too good for him, because that 3-4 actually might do enough damage at this point, especially once it gets flying later on, to really put a lot of pressure on SirRhino.
Yep, we see a 5-6 there, so stand together gives him a 3-4 to pressure with, and banish will kill the Titan. Rhino has to decide if he wants to play the banish or play the Steward of the Past. Either one's going to be, well, he can't play the Steward of the Past here, so I think it's going to be banish.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have to go for a banish. That's about his only option at this point. After that, he's really in a clunky spot by missing on this power. He can play Steward of the Past next turn, but he's really got to find some way to get to that 5th and 6th power. He's got the Varus favor, but that's going to be really slow, especially with Moosh probably having a turn 5 and turn 6 play to follow up with the Sandstorm Titan Kothan.
Yeah, like at this point, he's not looking at a great setup against Moosh. There's a lot that he has to get through. Once he kills the Titan, if he can resolve something on the Kothan, and Moosh doesn't have a lot of better threats, then that really could help him out. But at the moment, his hand is not looking great. And unfortunately, Rhino, who has been, I think, undefeated in everything other than his feature matches, has suddenly become observed and collapsed his Schrodinger state into something a little bit more like a loss, I think.
I hope that we haven't cursed him once again. And he opts to actually take out the Kothan instead of the Sandstorm type, which is really interesting. I wonder if he is realizing that one of his best outs here is going to be an Annihilate, if he chose to bring them in, I imagine that he probably did in this case, and that is why he might be opting to not do that.
This is an incredibly important round for Rhino. If he wins this, then he does, in fact, get into the top 4. If he loses, he's out. Roland gets the spot on the tiebreaker. So it's going to be really, really tough. And HiThar is completely eliminated from the round at the moment. So we've got that report in. Like, it's all down to this. Rhino has to make this happen, and he's got to make it happen against a pretty bad board. Protect happens against the Sabotage. That's actually not bad for Rhino. It means that he's got the ability to VAR's choice. If he can set it up, he can VAR's favor here to draw the extra power. And overall, I think this play went really well for him. Like, he played with the ability to, like, sort of throw out everything, and now he's got Mystic Ascendance later. He actually chooses to silence the Valkyrie Enforcer. I'm really intrigued by that.
I think he's really leaning on Steward of the Past to be able to take out a unit here, but I do think that's a little bit scary in the event that Moosh has a Desert Marshal, which I assume that he is playing right now.
Yeah, it's quite likely. Valkyrie Enforcer not coming down. Steward's going to stand in the way. If Moosh attacks into it, then that's good for him. But nope, second Valkyrie Enforcer. I don't know that I like that VAR's choice. And now he's got to deal with 2 flyers. Mystic Ascendant's not going to solve the problem. Second Steward also not going to solve the problem. Well, it might solve some of the problem. Yeah.
Oh, the VAR, no, the Enforcer in his hand is silenced from the VAR's choice, actually. So unless Moosh has an answer, he'll be able to block the Sandstorm Titan with his deadly one and then hold back the 4/4 with his silenced one. So there's a very small chance that Rhino actually might be able to get out of this.
The other thing he can do is he can chump block the 6/7 with the non-deadly Titan and kill the Valkyrie Enforcer with the deadly one, which I think
this is true.
Moosh realizes. Seek power, though, that's not helpful. He's got to play Mystic Ascendant basically blank and hope that it's good enough. This is getting really scary. Moosh has got some ways to answer this. His cards at 6 include cards like Crystallize and Scouting Party, both of which are just great at getting through for this amount of damage. Like, this is a very scary position for Rhino to be in. And if Moosh attacks in, he's pretty much got a block.
Yeah, I like what Moosh is doing here, attacking with only the Sandstorm Titan, because it does provoke lethal, and he is trying to make it so that his Enforcer can actually fly over. I think he realizes that's probably one of his best chances of getting through right now. For the record, both of us casters here are blind. We cannot see what is in Moosh's hand.
Yeah, we have Koth the Far Watcher there. That's another flyer for Rhino, or for Rhino to have to deal with. If Moosh gets 6 and activates Kothan, that's game. Rhino has to decide now if he wants to try to pull a Banish off of Mystic Ascendant number 1, or play Mystic Ascendant number 2 and go for the card advantage and the extra blocker. The Banish won't save his life against everything, but it will kill the Valkyrie Enforcer. So I think he's mostly in here for the double Ascendant, try and draw into better answers for the next round. And if Moosh has an answer this round, a single undepleted power will do it. Any amount of extra damage will do it. He doesn't have that. Death Strike kills the flyer, so that's going to be good for him.
Rhino's stable. Super tough decision for Rhino. Yeah, he's stable for just a second. He's going to have the Death Strike, and he needs another piece of removal just to be able to not die instantly.
Doesn't find it.
He doesn't. I think that's it.
I think there's no answer here. Death Strike kills the 4/4. VAR's favor gains him 2 life, and that's not enough.
Yeah, because that still puts him at, that only puts him at 3 life, and then that means the smallest unit, which is Kothan, can get through. So no matter what, I think it looks like Moosh has it here. But SirRhino's going to play it out and try and see if he can scare him into not making the correct play, which is just
if Moosh does not attack all in, Rhino lives. So, and yeah, it's just the Valkyrie Enforcer here.
Oh no!
So, without potential lethal, like this is a pretty scary position. Moosh doesn't necessarily want to attack all in, so he's considering it really hard. But if he doesn't do it, then Rhino can Death Strike this and play it on Mystic Ascendant and be very stable next turn. And there he goes.
Oh no!
Moosh misses lethal. Rhino's got a chance to punish, and it's a pretty good one with triple Mystic Ascendant.
Triple Mystic Ascendant.
Now the question is, do you go again? Do you play the Mystic Ascendant, or you try to draw an answer? And he's trying to draw an answer first.
I actually think that he should have played
here, but Ian is really, really good.
Yeah, I think he should have played the Mystic Ascendant first, though, because then he still would have had 4 power open. So he's in a little bit of a. Oh, this is so close. This is so close.
Yep, he's got the Death Strike up. He has Ian to sort of block in, so he's not dead to just an all-in attack again. I think at this point he's going to win, but only if Moosh doesn't have a stand together or something crazy here. Even a stand together doesn't actually get Moosh out of this. I think Rhino's got this. Ian the Abductor stabilizes him for 1 turn, even if Moosh attacks all in, which Moosh has not shown that he's willing to do. Sandstorm Titan is grounding all flyers, so he's not worried about that for the moment. He's got an unblockable unit that draws him cards. He's got 3 cards that actually draw him cards. He's got a huge amount of board presence. Ian the Abductor gains him life, but not a lot.
Not a lot. He's in a really if he has the power, the 6th power, his Sandstorm Titan is actually holding him back from being able to take the win here. He might be tanking on whether or not he wants to just throw that away and see if he can set it up, but he has these 10/10 Mystic Ascendants and the unblockable and card drawing Champion of Mystery on the receiving end.
Yeah, Mooch had the correct tilt last turn, and he didn't do it for fear of the Ian, I think. Basically, just Ian would have stabilized him and caused that whole situation to go very, very poorly. But now the Ian is there, and Moosh is threatening to tilt again, and he doesn't know if the Ian's there anymore. So he can't really go for it. He does get the Scouting Party. That's a really important card for him with the Zenith Obelisk up. Yes. I think that's lethal even with Ian down. So that could be it for Rhino. Rhino's got to basically play Mystic Ascendant, draw a bunch more gas, and actually use that gas to accomplish something. There were other options, too. He actually could have gotten lethal there with Kothan. If he had activated Kothan and swung in for 3, Rhino would not have a response, and that would have been game. Like, oh, there were so many different options for Moosh here. There's still so many different options for Moosh here. And Rhino's just looking for all of the answers. Like, yeah. It's a tough situation. He's very stable, but at the same time, like, oh, well, he can't fly in with the Sandstorm Titan on the ground, right? So.
Yes. No, otherwise, no,
as we were just discussing. But yeah, Ian the Abductor probably comes down here just to gain some life.
He goes for the A space even after he's tapped out.
Yeah, Rhino knows there's no tricks here, so he's going to do it pretty straightforward. I think he'll kill Kothan and the 6/7.
I actually think Moosh just threw this away. If he had held everything up, he would have probably been able to go in for lethal this next turn. But by killing all these units, he allows Rhino a lot more flexibility in his next attack and in his next turn.
Rhino kills every gas creature that Moose has, including the Seraphs. That's taking away all hope. Basically, the Scouting Party is the only thing left. And while Rhino goes down to, I think, 2 here, that is enough. Like, he's fine. He's got 4 blockers, so he's in perfectly good shape. And that could not have gone worse for Moosh. I think this play may have actually knocked out his ability to get an 8-0. And
I think it did.
Yeah, Moosh was playing for a lot of his other teammates to break, too. So, Roland would have broken, I think. So, in any case, we get 3 draws. Rhino picks up Avara's Choice, which if he wants to use it, he certainly can. But it might be better against a flyer this turn. He can attack in if he wants to. I think that's probably reasonable at this point. But Champion of Mystery would be a pretty good one, since he can actually get it in for guaranteed damage and get the card draw. But yeah, he's looking good.
One thing is that if Moosh is still playing Crystallize in his deck, that will still end the game.
Oh, yeah. So basically, there's no way for him to threaten lethal here, so he can't actually do it in a way that will force Moosh to block. So Crystallize is still the out. And Moosh has had some pretty good top deck luck lately, so there's no guarantee that that doesn't happen. There's no crystallizes in his void. I
Yeah.
believe there's 2 in his main deck, so that's a potential out. Scouting Party will stabilize the board for a little bit longer, and also potentially get him that extra 2 points of damage that he needs, even with the Rhino drawing like 3 cards a turn. It's going to be rough from here on out for Moosh. And we're looking at that last card. Is it a crystallize? It didn't get played immediately, so we don't know for sure.
He's either tanking on what to do or dancing around the room from the crystallize he just drew. But I'm guessing it's the first option. And given that he passed, yes.
Rhino playing this safe. Picks up a Sandstorm Titan. That doesn't stop the crystallize, but it gets him a little bit closer. I am the Abductor too. Is he crystallize proof? Sandstorm Titan plus Annihilate plus Iron plus Death Strike. I think that's enough. I think he is now in no possible way going to lose this game.
I think SirRhino just picked it up. Wow.
Like, it depends on what he plays here, but I don't think he can die to crystallize anymore. He's got the draw off Champion of Mystery. This attack forces some blocks, which is pretty helpful for him.
Oh, he's really debating on it. He's thinking about what could that one card be.
He's got to be careful here, but I think the attack is 100% correct. Sandstorm plus Iron is very, very good here. Vara's Choice just pops a unit back into his hand, which I think he's okay with. And then after that, he's still got just enough stuff to be pretty happy with it. So, yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, I think that's the correct play. He has to jump at least one of them. He does opt to jump both. It's definitely not looking too good for him. I think that means that he is just going to be doing whatever he can to draw any potential outs that he has. But I mean, it's going to have to be still crystallize. But no, even then with the 2 ions back up, yeah.
No, crystallize is off the table. I don't believe that Moosh has a way. Like, this is it. Rhino picked it up. That's going to be 5-3 for him. I think there's no possible way for Moosh to draw out of this at this point. It's one more turn to live. Moosh's available draws don't include anything.
And
so
the concede.
Yep.
Wow, what a game.
Moosh had one chance to take Rhino down there. Just one opening for lethal. And he didn't tilt for it for fear, I believe, of I am the Abductor. And without that, basically Rhino actually had the opportunity to seal up the game, get himself into the control position, and he takes a 5-3. He will be our top 4 bracketer, and that will be essentially everyone. I don't believe there are any tiebreakers for this one.
I don't think so. That that win actually locked him up and put Child Roland down into 5th place.
So,
all right.
Yeah, our top 4 players and the advancing 4 to go up against the other top 4 from the previous round robin are Mouche at 7-1, Toth at 6-2, Unearthly at 5-3, and SirRhino at 5-3. Congratulations to our top 4. That was just an amazing series of games. Saw a lot of really skilled play from a lot of different players, and I think that like some of those wins were just utterly deserved. Really well done, guys. Congratulations to everyone for getting this far. That was a really wonderful tournament, and I'm pretty excited to see the final top 8 double elimination tomorrow.
Yeah, same here. That was definitely some of the best Eternal that we've seen in quite some time. That was very good.
All right, so with that, I believe we're going to toss it over to Rekenner for a little bit of a post-mortem, and you can just take it away whenever you feel like, Rick.
That was the most intense game of Eternal I've seen in like the last 6 months. That was crazy. Yeah, so as it's been said, we have now confirmed our top 4 players. Mouche unfortunately doesn't make the sweep, which is fortunate for SirRhino, getting him in at 5-3. We have Mouche, Toth, Unearthly, SirRhino making it out of today's round robin bracket. So, with that being said, we now have our top 8 players for tomorrow. However, what we're going to do is, to prevent players wanting to say set their matchup for tomorrow, we are going to actually randomize the top 4 players that made it in via the first round robin and randomize the players from the second round robin in terms of who they play. So it will always be a player from the first round robin versus a player from the second round robin for our first Winners Bracket 1 match tomorrow. Whereas if we were to do seeding, it would be a guarantee of SirRhino versus Kamado tomorrow, et cetera, all the way down the bracket. And so we are going to, I believe, cut to a we're going to be ideally doing the randomization live. I just need to get confirmation from Teehee that he is showing that, and he'll need to send me the results actually, so I'll have to read them off.
Underdog, underdog.
All right. So we have... Sorry for the short delay, folks. We had Discord issues making things a little spotty on the back end. We didn't quite get this set up as well as we would have hoped. Okay, so our randomization for the seeding for the top 4 will be Kamado still in the lead, then Visarius is second, Tobo is third, and Sunnyvale is fourth. But again, this isn't really a disadvantage to anyone. And then we will get the second batch of players randomized in just a second. All right, number 1 is Toth, which means he will be playing against Sunnyvale tomorrow. Number 2 is Unearthly, which means he will be playing against Tobo tomorrow. Number 3 is Mouche, which means he'll be playing against Visarius tomorrow, a team kill, although I guess when 5 out of 8 of the players in the top 8 are from Team ET, that mathematically had to happen. No matter who Moosh rolled, he was going to get a player from his team. And then finally, Rhino, number 8. So Rhino will be playing off against Kamado as our last match of Winners Bracket Round 1 tomorrow. So once again, that is Kamado versus Rhino, Sunnyvale versus Toth, Visarius versus Moosh, and Tobo versus Unearthly as our bracket for tomorrow. So with that, we will actually be done for the day. So I would once again like to thank everyone who came out to play. I would like to say for all of our players who have been eliminated so far, you guys have played some fantastic Eternal. Even just getting here, I think, should be considered a monumental achievement. It's unfortunate that you all had to leave. Like, we are seeing really some of the best players in the game leave, which is crazy, but that's how tournaments have to run, right? It's still just kind of, it really does make me sad to see some of the players that are leaving. I root for every one of these players, as crazy as that sounds, like, I wanted Rhino to win. I wanted Rhino to lose because then Roland would be in the top 8. It's conflicting. Such is the life of a tournament organizer, I guess. You become friends with all the players. Anyway, but I would like to once again also thank all of our viewers and all of our players that have played in every one of our events, the weekly opens, the invitationals, here today, the team tournament. If it wasn't for all of you, we couldn't be doing this. And putting this tournament and stream on every weekend is fantastic. I love doing it. I'd also like to thank Miller Tool and Teehee, our producers. Teehee's been the one doing production for Worlds this weekend and last weekend. He's been doing a crazy job. We've added a lot of new layers of complexity to the event. And we've also been having to do some things on the fly that we didn't expect. And he's been handling it like a complete professional. But I'd also like to point out Millertool has done a ton of work setting things up in OBS. He's figured out a ton of things in OBS. He's done a lot of great stuff for us. And without both of them, we could not be putting on this broadcast. I'd also like to thank our graphics and co-contributors, specifically Mangar for his tiebreaker script and deck image creation tool, and our video editor, X Kirby, for his weekly highlights and the great interviews we've been running throughout Worlds, and especially the super sweet video we've been running as the intro to Worlds and throughout the broadcast. And a special shout out to Dragonfly, who made the super sweet World Championships logo. And a huge thank you to our Twitch subs and Patreon backers. They make it possible for us to have our prize pools at the events, including the $3,000 prize pool for this event. Our $20 Patreon backers are Chuck Hurst, Easy, Chris Kearns, Andre Pokai, Seek Power Gaming, and Frosty HS. And a special shout out to everyone's favorite Eternal Rockstar, Creepin' Death, who subbed to our broadcast today. You can check him out and check out his music on by talking to him on Discord. He's put out some great tracks. He's a great guy. Talk to him. He's awesome. Also hangs out a whole lot in the Eternal Discord, just general chat. But you can find our Patreon at www.patreon.com/RNGEternal. And so that is wrapping up our broadcast for today. We have the final day of Worlds tomorrow. The top 8 bracket will be showing every single elimination match on screen, which means we won't be showing every match in the winner's bracket for winner's bracket round 1 and round 2. But we will be showing every single elimination match. We get to see everyone go home, as sad as that will be. Every one of these top 8 players is a incredible player. But yeah, so we will be starting with a pre-show tomorrow morning. At about 10:15, we won't be running the full-length pre-show tomorrow morning. So check that out tomorrow morning, 10:15 Eastern. And then we'll be running pre-show up through 11 in the morning Eastern. And at that point, we'll be starting our coverage with winner's bracket round 1. So we'll be running the top 8 through tomorrow. And by the end of tomorrow, we will have crowned the Eternal Tournament Series World Championships winner. We'll be taking home a cool $1,000. All right, everyone. Have a good evening, good afternoon. Enjoy the music on the way out.